Hi everyone, Chris here in Paris with Samsung at Galaxy Unpacked, taking a look at the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. In this video, it's first impressions, so I'll let you know what I think of it. I'll show you the changes that we do have compared to the previous model. And of course, this new model is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. That's one of the key changes is the chipset. I'll show you what else we have that is new and what they have tweaked with the design with this newer model. Samsung went with the same design yet again, and it has been many years that they've used this design. Okay, it is a proven design. It works well for Samsung, and they just keep tweaking this design, improving it. But I do think it's a little overdue now. They should have a completely new design. I was really crossing my fingers that they would have, say, an inner screen that is 8 inches, but no, it is 7.6. So it is their dynamic AMOLED screen, the 2X screen, 120 Hz refresh rate. And you'll note that the corners of it now are more rectangular. So this is fitting in with the design of the S24 series. So they have made a tweak, however, to the screen real estate inside. Very minor. It is now 2.7 millimeters larger, that screen. And they've managed to reduce the height of the phone by 1.4 millimeters. And this is why I say that it's really just a refined previous model, tweaking it yet again. Weight reductions, so it's now 14 grams lighter than the Z Fold 5. That is definitely welcomed. And if you compare it to the Z Fold 4, that's 24 grams now that they have shaved off it. As for colors, well, we have the silver shadow. That's my favorite. The pink, that's the new color that you can get for it. And navy, which does look very good. It definitely feels like a premium device. They've made some weight reductions in the hinge. You can see here the hinge design that Samsung was showing us. It feels good, that hinge, when you open and close it. I do like it. And the back material that they've got on the glass is frosted, the finish, so it does resist fingerprints reasonably well, although I did notice a few smudges on it. There is a crease, and if you look at the phone at certain angles, like now, you can see there is a noticeable line in the middle. Now, to my eyes, it has been reduced when you run your finger over it or the stylus over it. You notice it, but you kind of end up forgetting about it once you start using the phone. The outer screen looks almost identical to the previous model. However, it is a fraction wider. Not by much though, it's just 1 millimeter the difference. It's a welcome change again to make this a little wider. It's not quite a 21:9 aspect ratio, which is more the standard outer screen size. However, typing on it is fine. It's a good looking screen, and no, sadly, this is a missed opportunity. There is no stylus support on the outer screen. Samsung has tweaked the camera modules. You can see they look at first glance very similar to the Z Fold 5, but when you look a little bit closer, you'll see that that ring that is around the cameras is slightly wider here. So it's a very minor tweak to those modules there, but the cameras are exactly the same with all cameras. So that's the 12 megapixel ultra wide, the 50 megapixel main camera, and then our zoom camera, 10 megapixels, 3 times optical zoom. And this is a missed opportunity. They could have made some changes or improvements, maybe use a 200 megapixel sensor borrowed from the S23 or S24 series, but no. The under display camera, that is still there. It remains 4 megapixels. This has an aperture of f1.8, so it's quite bright. But the quality isn't amazing because it has to look through and around those pixels. That is what under display cameras are like, unfortunately. Do you think that Samsung should have changed this? Should they have gone and just used a hole punch style inner camera? Or do you think having the UTC camera is better so we don't have that ugly hole in the screen? The Z Fold 6, when it is folded, is 12.1 millimeters the thickness and unfolded 5.6 millimeters, and it does have an IP48 water resistance. Side capacitor fingerprint reader does remain. Down the bottom, we've got our Type-C port that supports the video out. We have built-in dual speakers. Now, if you do game a lot on your foldable phone, you are going to like the changes here. Of course, we have the more powerful chip, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, the latest and the greatest, so it is faster. Performance has increased, especially ray tracing mobile performance. That's up 53%. But what is more interesting for me is the cooling. So here you can see where Samsung did lay out the internals of the Z Fold 5, And you can see that it doesn't have a huge amount of cooling compared to what we get now with the Z Fold 6. So there's a big improvement here. The vapor chamber is now 1.6 times larger than the Z Fold 5. So that's 60% more cooling, the size of it that is, at least compared to the previous model. And that's going to help dissipate, of course, the heat. And our gaming performance, that's up 25% if you just look at raw figures when it comes to GPU performance. Stylus support with our S Pen is still there. We have the air commands. They have added now a smart select and sketch to image, which I was playing around with at our little hands-on session. So I did find this to be quite a bit of fun. You can sketch an image and then get it to then later generate an AI image from this. It's part of the Galaxy AI suite of all sorts of things that you can do with this. So there's photo assist, where you can edit and remove parts from a photo or add them in and whatnot. You've got the circle to search, which we've seen before with the S24 series. You've got note assist as well, there browsing assist, transcript assist, and various other different AI features which are very useful, like the interpreter, live translate, all very handy to have. I did take a brief look at the stock camera application. So with our main camera, we have 8K video support, and all the options and settings in there did seem to be, to me, exactly the same as before. Did Samsung take this opportunity to increase the battery capacity? It was on my wish list for the Z Fold 6. It is the same, you guessed right. So 4,400 milliamp hours, and it will fully charge with 25 watt charging, which is still the same, up to 50% in 30 minutes, which is not bad. However, this does fall behind the competition when you look at some of those Chinese foldables out there. Cases, yes, of course, there is a case for it, and it's very similar to the previous model's cases. However, it has been slightly revised due to the new dimensions and the slightly different camera modules. And what I like about this case is, like the previous version, the stylus does latch into place. It means you will not lose it. It's very secure, and you get protection for the front screen, the back of it, the camera modules. It doesn't protect the spine, however. So again, we are seeing just some tweaks and refinement from Samsung, and I feel like they could have done a little bit more with this model. That's just my first impressions here. Like, I feel like they could have somehow squeezed in a larger battery, hopefully. Now, don't get me wrong, it is very premium. It's great what they've done to increase the width of the outer screen just a little bit, slim things down a bit. It feels a little bit more premium. Of course, we have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. The charge rates are the same. It does come with 12 gigabytes of RAM for all models, and that means it's the 256 gigabyte version, the 512, and 1 terabyte is our max, but the RAM just stays at the 12, which for most people should be sufficient. I do know competitors out there do offer 16. Camera's exactly the same. I was hoping that maybe they would improve upon maybe the ultra wide or our main camera here. So far, and just my initial testing here, I can't go in very deep here. I'm not allowed to test it out with benchmarks or whatnot, but it does feel very fluid and smooth. Now, software has been, for me, the key thing of why you would probably go with a Samsung foldable versus the competition I do test out. So what do you think? Do you think that Samsung's done enough here with the Galaxy Z Fold 6, or should they have pushed the envelope a little bit more? Should they have pushed forward with more innovation? I hope that that is up and coming, but do let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching my first impressions of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6.